Hello, Curtis. This is Tulio. Just response to your post. Very nice post. It was enlightening hearing it from a law enforcement perspective. You talked about the difference, the rating between the security and civil rights. I have to agree with you. I'm on your side. Um, I would give up some of those civil rights. They're no big deal as long as I have security for myself, my family, my friends. That's what the act is all about. So, similar to the situation you mentioned at the mall, close to your house, that's what the Patriot Act's all about. Capturing, and I think you also gave some numbers on how many individuals have been caught. Uh, Homegrown terrorists, lone wolf, whatever you want to call it, trying to plan and commit a terrorist act in the United States. I believe that's what the Patriot Act is all about, catching those guys and then going after the bigger guys also, Al Qaeda, Taliban, whoever it may be. Um, you talked about the effectiveness and efficiency of the Patriot Act, and I believe it is doing what it's doing. It's very efficient, very effective. Um, it doesn't affect a lot of the civil rights um, as we see it. Basically, the two issues I see are the ones, and you mentioned them, is how the documents that they obtain and the surveillance techniques and methods that they go about. But the Patriot Act kind of clarifies and makes it very efficient for speed and accessibility for the law enforcement, where it removed a lot of those obstacles where previously the time delay on, I mean, you mentioned that it was just a formality going about the process, but we could still get to those records, we could still get to those surveillance spots, and just adjusting the roving surveillance that you mentioned. That was an issue, an obstacle probably in the past, got fixed through the act. So I believe those two areas were the main concern for a lot of the civil rights. How much documents they have access through the national security letters, and the electronics targeting and surveillance. But I think those are no big issues when you have bigger security concerns as far as civil liberty. You also talked about that act where we're not required to notify someone where that may hamper the investigation if you notify them that you're gonna go in their house. The sneak and peek provision, I think that's a great provision. If we're gonna target somebody and we're getting information and there's activity that leads to what they're trying to commit a terrorist act, I think we should go ahead and go through that process. Continue to investigate. Eventually, we'll get something. If there's nothing there, then there should be no concern for those individuals. I wouldn't mind if they do a sneak and peek on me or surveil my electronic devices, because I know I'm not doing anything wrong, and I think everybody should look at it that way. So I think on the long run, the provisions and the changes that you mentioned, 2001, originally 2005, and then 11 with Obama. I think the Patriot Act has a good future, and I think it's going to change and evolve as things happen. For example, what happened in Boston, we might have to change something on to the U.S. Patriot Act to continue further and identify personnel that could act in the way that those two young men did in Boston. And apparently the FBI had already investigated the older guy, the older brother. So I don't know. I'm sure what stopped them from continue investigating. But those are things that the Patriot Act may have to be looked at. As far as the electronic surveillance, maybe change it a little bit so the civil rights personnel and interest groups are not affected by it, or they're thinking about it, can be changed to say, yeah, we agree with the Patriot Act now. Other than that, I agree with everything you said. I also agree that the Patriot Act is the act that we need for law enforcement and to continue to target those terrorist individuals. And I also like the provisions on the titles on the acts that came down as far as anti-money laundering to prevent terrorism, and also identifying individuals within the U.S. We can go ahead and call them terrorist criminals. So the terminology changed there. so we can go ahead and pursue them and just name them terrorists regardless of what they're doing, criminal acts, which includes assassination, mass destruction, and kidnapping. So, and also just taking the money away from the big guys, from the big terrorist group. I think that's very effective. Other than that, great post, and that was my quick back at you. Thank you.